Ever wondered which side of your brain dominates? Let's dive in and find out. Have you ever taken one of those online quizzes that promise to unlock the secrets of your mind? You know, the ones that pop up on your social media feed beckoning you to discover your true cognitive self? They claim to reveal if you're a logical left-brainer, a master of mathematics, a wizard with words, and a champion of critical thinking. Or perhaps you're a creative right-brainer, a visionary artist, a musical maestro, and an intuitive soul guided by imagination and emotion. It's a neat and tidy way to make sense of ourselves, to categorize our strengths and weaknesses, and to understand how we perceive the world. But what if I told you this seemingly harmless idea, this popular notion of left brain versus right brain dominance, is actually one of science's biggest and most enduring myths? Think about a great artist who uses geometry and mathematical principles to create stunning works of art, blending precision with passion. Or consider a scientist who has a creative breakthrough, using imagination and intuition to solve complex problems and push the boundaries of knowledge. Are they really using just one side of their brain, neatly compartmentalizing their skills and abilities? Is the brain truly so divided? The truth is, your brain is far more interconnected, dynamic, and collaborative than this simplistic myth suggests. It's a symphony of neural networks, constantly communicating and working together. We love simple explanations, easy-to-digest labels that help us categorize the world. But real science is about questioning what seems obvious, challenging assumptions, and digging deeper into the complexities of the human mind. The scientific evidence for a strict left-right brain split, dictating personality and abilities, just isn't there. It's a far more nuanced and integrated system. So, let's embark on a journey to explore where this pervasive myth came from, why it has stubbornly stuck around in popular culture, and what modern neuroscience really tells us about the amazing organ between our ears. By the end of this exploration, you'll see that you're not simply left-brained or right-brained, you're a whole-brain person capable of logic, creativity, and everything in between. The brain story is not about division or dominance, but about teamwork, collaboration, and the beautiful synergy of different regions working in harmony. Get ready to rethink how you think about your brain and prepare for a fascinating journey into the world of neuroscience. Our story starts in the 1800s, a time of great scientific curiosity and burgeoning medical understanding. It was an era where the secrets of the human body were just beginning to be unlocked, and the brain, in particular, remained a vast and largely uncharted territory. When scientists first realized different brain areas have different jobs, they began to suspect that the brain wasn't just one homogeneous mass, but rather a collection of specialized regions, each responsible for distinct functions. This was a revolutionary idea at the time, challenging the prevailing view of the brain as a single, unified entity. Paul Broca, a French physician, made a pivotal discovery. He found that damage to a specific spot on the left side of the brain, now known as Broca's area, affected speech. Patients with injuries to this area struggled to form words and express themselves verbally, even though they understood what was being said to them. This was a crucial piece of evidence linking a particular brain region to a specific cognitive function. Shortly after, Carl Wernicke discovered another left side region, distinct from Broca's area, crucial for understanding language. Damage to Wernicke's area resulted in an inability to comprehend spoken or written words, even though the patients could still speak fluently. However, their speech often lacked meaning and coherence. These findings made people think the left hemisphere was the language and logic center. The evidence seemed compelling. Two critical language functions, speech production and language comprehension, were both localized to the left side of the brain. This led to the initial hypothesis that the left hemisphere was dominant for language and logical thought. Meanwhile, damage to the right side often caused trouble with spatial awareness and recognizing faces, leading to difficulties in navigating familiar environments and identifying loved ones. So the right brain was labeled the emotional and spatial side. It was thought to be primarily responsible for processing emotions, recognizing patterns, and understanding spatial relationships. This created a neat, albeit oversimplified, division of labor between the two hemispheres. Early research was groundbreaking, but limited. The methods available to these pioneering scientists were rudimentary compared to the sophisticated tools we have today. They could only study damaged brains, not healthy ones in action. They were forced to draw conclusions based on the effects of brain lesions, which provided valuable insights but also presented significant limitations. It's like trying to understand a car by looking at wrecks. You can learn something about how the parts fit together, but you can't see how it performs on the open road. These early clues planted the seeds, left for logic, right for emotion. A simplified view that would persist for decades, influencing popular culture and even some scientific circles, but the real story is much more complex. The brain is not a collection of isolated modules, but rather a highly interconnected network where different regions constantly communicate and collaborate. The tools back then couldn't show how the whole brain works together. They lacked the resolution and sensitivity to capture the dynamic interplay between different brain regions in real time. Today we know those early ideas were just the beginning. Modern neuroimaging techniques such as fMRI and EEG allow us to observe the brain in action, revealing the intricate patterns of neural activity that underlie our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. The myth grew from a few observations, not the full picture. It was a convenient narrative that oversimplified the brain's complex organization and function. Let's see how it evolved, and how modern science is rewriting the story of the left brain and the right. Fast forward to the 1960s, a decade of groundbreaking discoveries and shifting paradigms. It was a time when scientists began to truly unlock some of the brain's most closely guarded secrets. Enter Roger Sperry and Michael Gazzaniga, two pioneers in the field of neuroscience. Their work would challenge long-held beliefs about how the brain functions. They conducted a series of now-famous studies on patients who had undergone a radical surgical procedure, the severing of the corpus callosum, the bridge connecting the two brain hemispheres. This procedure was a last-resort treatment for severe epilepsy, aiming to prevent seizures from spreading from one side of the brain to the other. This surgical separation, while alleviating epileptic symptoms, inadvertently created a unique opportunity for scientists to test each hemisphere in isolation, observing their independent functions and capabilities. Through meticulous experimentation, they found the left brain handled language, playing a dominant role in speech, grammar, and comprehension. It was considered the logical and analytical side. Conversely, the right brain processed images and patterns, excelling in spatial reasoning, facial recognition, and artistic expression. It was seen as the more creative and intuitive side. For example, in one experiment, a patient might see an object presented only to the left eye, which directly connects to the right brain hemisphere. In such a scenario, the patient couldn't name it verbally. The left brain, responsible for language, was unaware of the object. Yet, when presented with a selection of objects hidden from sight, the same patient could effortlessly pick it out by touch, demonstrating the right brain's understanding. These split-brain studies provided compelling evidence that each side of the brain had distinct specialities and cognitive functions. But here's the catch, a crucial point often overlooked in the popular interpretation of these findings. The groundbreaking results came from a very specific and rare set of circumstances. Studies conducted on a small group of patients with surgically separated brain hemispheres, not representative of the general population with intact brains. Despite the nuanced reality, the myth of left brain versus right brain dominance took off like wildfire, largely because it was easy to oversimplify and apply to everyday life. In reality, in a healthy brain, both hemispheres constantly share information, working together in a seamless and integrated manner through the corpus callosum. The split-brain experiments were undoubtedly revolutionary, providing invaluable insights into the brain's functional organization. But they certainly didn't mean that we predominantly use only one side of our brain at a time, neglecting the other. The real takeaway from this research? Our brains are indeed specialized, with different regions excelling in specific tasks, but they are always intricately connected, collaborating to create a unified and cohesive experience. Fueled by simplified interpretations and a desire for self-improvement, the myth of left brain versus right brain dominance was about to explode in popular culture, shaping self-help trends and personality assessments for decades to come. The split brain findings quickly became pop culture gold. Suddenly, the left brain was the logical, organized accountant, and the right brain was the creative, dreamy artist. People started labeling themselves as left-brained or right-brained, using it to explain strengths and weaknesses. Self-help books and workshops promise to unlock your dominant side. But real life isn't so simple. Writing a novel, for example, needs both imagination and structure, creativity and logic. Designing a bridge? You need artistic vision and precise math. Most tasks blend skills from both hemispheres. The world isn't divided into two types of thinkers. The myth is appealing, but it doesn't match reality. Our brains don't work in isolation. They collaborate. The left-right split is a story, not science. Let's look at how your brain really works. Imagine your brain as a championship football team, not two separate departments. The left hemisphere is like the star striker and defenders. Precise, analytical, and goal-oriented. The right hemisphere is the creative midfielders and the intuitive goalkeeper, seeing the big picture and making quick judgments. But the magic happens in their teamwork. The corpus callosum is the communication system, letting both sides coordinate seamlessly. Every great play involves the whole team, each player contributing at the right moment. Listening to music, both hemispheres are busy, one analyzing lyrics, the other feeling the rhythm. Telling a joke, one side builds the sentence, the other reads the room. Almost everything you do requires both hemispheres working together. There's no logic side or creativity side, just a whole brain team. The secret to your brain's power is connection, not division. That's how you really think. Does the left brain/right brain myth matter? Actually, yes. Believing it can limit you. If you think you're not creative or bad at math, you might never try. The myth can close doors before you even knock. Creativity and logic are skills you can learn and practice. Your brain is flexible and adaptable. Neuroplasticity means you can always grow. Try activities that mix both sides. Play music, write stories, cook creatively. Don't let old labels hold you back. You're not just logical or creative, you're both. The next time someone says they're left-brained or right-brained, you'll know the real story. Your whole brain is your superpower. Modern brain scans show a different picture. Your brain is a network, not a split system. When you talk, solve problems, or listen to music, both hemispheres light up and communicate in milliseconds. Language? The left side handles grammar, but the right side adds emotion and nuance. Building furniture? The right side visualizes, the left follows instructions. It's the rapid-fire conversation between both sides that lets you succeed. Neuroscientists now talk about brain networks, not just locations. Think of your brain like a city's transport system. Routes connect everywhere, not just one district. Creativity, memory, planning, they all use pathways across both hemispheres. The myth is simple, but the reality is a beautiful, complex symphony. Your brain's power comes from integration, not separation. Every thought is a team effort. That's the real science. Now for some amazing brain facts. Not everyone's language center is on the left. About 30% of left-handed people have it on the right or both sides. Your corpus callosum has about 200 million nerve fibers, transmitting billions of messages per second. Musicians and ambidextrous people often have a thicker corpus callosum. Practice strengthens the bridge. You can't tickle yourself because your brain predicts your own movements and dulls the sensation. A whole brain process. Einstein's brain was smaller than average but had more connections in key areas. Intelligence isn't about size but about structure and connectivity. It's all about teamwork in your brain. So, are you left-brained or right-brained? The answer, neither. The myth is a catchy story, but science shows your brain is a unified, dynamic system. Both hemispheres have specialities, but they're partners, not rivals. Every thought, every creative spark, every logical step is a team effort. To say you use only one side is like saying a bird flies with one wing. The real science is empowering. You can learn, adapt, and grow in any direction. Don't let old myths limit your potential. Embrace your whole brain power. Next time you see a left brain/right brain quiz, remember, your mind is a symphony, not a split. Science is always evolving. Keep questioning, keep learning. Your brain is more amazing than any myth.